Yeah, so the thesis from Morgan Stanley, I should say the latest thesis from Morgan Stanley and Adam Jonas, is that the long-term benefits of their work in proprietary silicon and compute, Dojo, could add $500 billion to the market cap.
Many would argue that Tesla remains and will continue to be at the top of the game. In fact, Tesla's gonzo market cap is so enormous that its daily swings in value often exceed the sum total of most major automakers. On slow days, it might only be the equivalent of Volvo or Nissan, for example. However, a recent surge added $70 billion, conjuring a value increase approximately the size of the BMW Group out of thin air. That kind of investor euphoria is typically restricted to the realm of artificial intelligence.
I say the latest thesis because Adam Jonas has talked up the software potential of Tesla before. The first time he kind of came out with this big bull case call and updated his call on the stock like 70% was in 2015. And he envisioned a future where Tesla operates like Uber and Lyft, a rideshare service, but operates its own fleet of Tesla vehicles, own fleet of robo-taxis. And clearly in present day 2023, that's not yet come true.
This instance proves no different. Not too long ago, in fact very recently, Morgan Stanley had published an uber-bullish call on Tesla based almost solely on an analysis of the growth outlook for the EV maker selling its Dojo supercomputer as a service. The more we looked at Dojo, the more we realized the potential for underappreciated value in the stock, Morgan Stanley wrote. The report upgraded Tesla to what is effectively a buy rating, naming it a top pick and predicting shares would return to their historic high of around $400 from November 2021 in 12 months.
But Tesla has made a commitment to develop its own silicon and its own compute power to train neural networks. And the latest that Musk has said is that they'll put $1 billion in an R&D perspective into Dojo to make it better. And Morgan Stanley sees that upside coming.
I was trying to make it a Mojo Dojo Casa House in relation to this topic, but I know, right? It would have been funny, but it's a Barbie reference. Hey, Ed, some criticism is that this valuation, or is this based on an idea? Like it's not material yet. It's just like, hey, if that happens, then this could be the amount. So that there is a lot of uncertainty and skepticism still around it.
Well, so in the first instance, Tesla makes money from software sales of full self-driving beta, right? Just as they've used price hikes as a lever and price cuts as a lever on the cars, they've raised the price of FSD from sort of $10,000 to $15,000. That's very high margin revenue. What Jonas is arguing is that their work in compute with Dojo is akin to what AWS did in cracking the cloud market early, that it opens up the opportunity for them to sell a much wider range of software services.
Dojo represents Tesla's attempt to solve one of the biggest hardware problems facing AI, the bottlenecks in memory storage and bandwidth that inhibit effective scaling of the technology. This is particularly true when it comes to training on visual data. Entering production in July, Dojo is supposed to rapidly expand to the equivalent of 300,000 NVIDIA A100 GPUs, for a total compute of 100 exaflops, a measurement of supercomputer operational speed by October of next year. That would make it potentially the world's most advanced machine in terms of processing power and may help Musk realize his long-held dream of full self-driving or FSD. Third-party Dojo services can offer investors the next leg of Tesla's growth story, the investment bank wrote. At its heart is a Tesla proprietary D1 chip, which features 50 billion transistors that, in theory, allow for a massive increase in the volume and speed at which data can move without a corresponding surge in energy costs. Its streamlined design would allow Musk to feed vast amounts of visual information gathered by the millions of Tesla cars on the road to train his neural net. It could also aid AI-adjacent industries like robotics, healthcare, and security, according to Morgan Stanley. First announced at Tesla's inaugural AI Day 2 years ago alongside its humanoid robot Optimus, Musk has since sought to temper expectations. In October, he warned, "The jury is still out on whether Dojo is worth the effort." But he's willing to risk a billion-dollar investment anyway. If it works, Tesla would likely be the first to market with self-driving software that can be flashed onto all the vehicles in its fleet via a remote update over the air. Musk would finally fulfill his promise that 1 million cars could overnight turn into robo-taxis, first predicted for the end of 2020. Musk himself has sought to quell concerns from frustrated customers like Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak over self-driving claims. This time, Tesla developers wanted to remove virtually all of the 300,000-plus lines of code in V11 and replace them with AI that can continuously learn and improve with each mile a Tesla car drives. Musk has implied the release of V12 would mean FSD no longer needs human supervision after nearly 3 years in beta testing. In light of Morgan Stanley's recent move, Tesla bulls criticized the firm for taking so long to grasp the potential of Dojo, while bears pointed to a passage in the report that says analysts were never actually able to prove it does what Musk claims. It is difficult to explicitly validate the many claims Tesla has made about Dojo's cost and performance, the report admitted. And speaking of FSD, it was in late August when Elon Musk got into his Model S at Tesla headquarters in Palo Alto, selected a random spot on his navigation screen, and let the car drive itself using its full self-driving technology. For 45 minutes while listening to Mozart, he live-streamed his trip. Musk had used FSD hundreds of times before, but this drive was profoundly different, and not just because it was much smoother and more reliable. The new version he was using, FSD 12, was based on a radical new concept that he believed would not only transform autonomous vehicles, but also be a quantum leap towards artificial general intelligence that can operate in physical real-world situations. Instead of being based on hundreds of thousands of lines of code, like all previous versions of self-driving software, this new system had taught itself how to drive by processing billions of frames of video of how humans do it. Just like the new large language model chatbots train themselves to generate answers by processing billions of words of human text. Amazingly, Musk had set Tesla on this fundamentally new approach just 8 months earlier. It's like ChatGPT, but for cars. Dhaval Shroff, a young member of Tesla's autopilot team, explained to Musk in a meeting in December. He was comparing the idea they were working on to the chatbot that had just been released by OpenAI, the lab that Musk co-founded in 2015. We process an enormous amount of data on how real human drivers acted in a complex driving situation, said Shroff, and then we train a computer's neural network to mimic that. Until then, Tesla's autopilot system had been relying on a rules-based approach. The car's cameras identified such things as lane markings, pedestrians, vehicles, signs, and traffic signals. Then the software applied a set of rules, such as stop when the light is red, go when it's green, stay in the middle of the lane markers, proceed through an intersection only when no cars are coming fast enough to hit you, and so on. Tesla's engineers manually wrote and updated hundreds of thousands of lines of C++ code to apply these rules to complex situations. The neural network planner that Shroff and others were working on took a different approach. Instead of determining the proper path of the car based on rules, Shroff says, we determine the car's proper path by relying on a neural network that learns from millions of examples of what humans have done. In other words, it's human imitation. By early 2023, the Neural Network Planner project had analyzed 10 million clips of videos collected from the cars of Tesla owners. Did that mean it would merely be as good as the average of human drivers? No, because we only use data from humans when they handle a situation well, Shroff explained. Shroff showed Musk instances where a neural network planner would work better than a rules-based approach. The demo had a road littered with trash cans, fallen traffic cones, and random debris. A car guided by the neural network planner was able to skitter around the obstacles, crossing the lane lines and breaking some rules as necessary. Here's what happens when we move from rules-based to network path-based, Shroff told him. The car will never get into a collision if you turn this thing on, even in unstructured environments. It was the type of leap into the future that excited Musk. We should do a James Bond-style demonstration, he said, where there are bombs exploding on all sides and a UFO is falling from the sky while the car speeds through without hitting anything. On a different note, Tesla CEO Elon Musk finally relented when aides revealed a plan to build both a robotaxi and an inexpensive small car side by side in a cutting-edge factory. Now, a $25,000 electric car would be a game changer in the auto industry's fight against climate change, especially in the US, where consumers are facing high inflation and a lack of affordable options. So, why is this vital? Well, Tesla's master plan, first published in 2006, called for using money made on early models like the $100,000 plus Roadster and the Model S to bring down the cost of future vehicles, and it appears that it's finally happening. Subscribe for more.